Today, we get to talk about hot leads on LinkedIn. Part of the challenge is always finding ideal prospects. This can be a very time-consuming, very painful process. But if we really nail this, it makes a huge difference. This has been part of how Sean and myself have been able to start multiple businesses, bootstrap them. They're all profitable and continue to grow to do at least 7 figures or more per year in sales, with some of the key elements we're talking about today. And so one of them being time as the problem. What do I mean by time? I mean, this is for all my cold callers. This is for all my people that have had to go door to door selling. This is all for all my people that have had to collect and curate data, like leads, data, in order to make X amount of contacts per day. It's very, very time consuming. However, if you don't do it, the business doesn't grow. A lot of times in doing it, you might kind of get the sense like it doesn't feel quite right. It's really, really, again, time consuming. You're like, is this even going to go anywhere? It's very easy at times to feel like you might not be doing it fully right. Well, we're going to be addressing that today because if you do get this right, you're going to be living large. This skill, like if we don't nail this, everything beyond this step is a miss. If we have bad data, if we have not ideal fits for our business, if they somehow make it to the sales team, now we're taking up their calendar and time. If for some reason they decide that they have to buy and they get through the conversion part, now they're filling up all the support tickets, taking up the support team's time, and the reality is they're just not quite the right fit. We want to nail this up front, and there's some really simple things we're going to cover today that make all this very easy, so we can start winning from the beginning and watch the business grow. So the question becomes, how do you do this? Well, we're going to focus. There's lots of answers, but we're going to hone in and focus on just one today: LinkedIn events. This is something that's come up on multiple calls, and it's like most people aren't thinking about this, the way that we've been looking at it. And fortunately, before the end of today, like this, you could start doing this stuff even on this call. It's very easy to do, and it gives a lot of leverage to the business. Now, I'm not talking about you putting on an event on LinkedIn. That's not what I'm talking about today. You can do those. That is a great strategy. It can be great. I'm not talking about that today. What I am talking about today is going to other events that other people are doing on LinkedIn to find where your prospects are already congregating. So fortunately, what I have to share today is much, much easier. Think of it like this. You're like, Chris, I'm looking for some apples. Well, I would suggest you go to an apple orchard. You can go anywhere. You're going to win. You could go through 5% of the orchard. You're still going to get apples. You could, try to get as much market share of the apple orchard as you want. And either way, you're not going to walk through here and find a bunch of oranges, right? And I know this is a very plain example, but I want to highlight some of the ridiculousness that what we put ourselves through. Number one, we don't hone in our focus all the time of our niche or who we're serving because we feel we're missing out. But other times we're looking in the wrong places and we're frustrated that conversions are low, sales cycles are long, and things aren't going the way we want. All right. So what is the apple orchard? The apple orchard of today is LinkedIn events. These events, when we find the right events, they're like finding an apple orchard, and our leads are the apples all congregating in a high density, high propensity amount in one area. So we have it's like shooting fish in a barrel. We have a higher percentage of winning. That's the kind of game that we like to play. So here's why this works so well. On LinkedIn, of course, they've got some great searches, right? Anyone here have Sales Navigator? You gone through? Joe does, Michael does. Okay, cool. So some people have used it, right? They have so many different search criterias, right? You can hone in. Those are beginning steps of curating data, getting ideal people that we know we can serve, and they benefit from all of us communicating, which is great. Save them time, save us time. Job title, industry, location, those are good. That's not only what I'm talking about today with events. Think about this. It's all those things plus intent. This is very simple, but most people are not thinking this way. So hang with me on this. It's all of the criteria, the logic, but we want to find people that are also actively in emotional pain and want the product or service or solution that we offer, right? So that's some of the intent. Let me share an example. Imagine you sell leadership training and you're selling leadership training specifically to female executives. And maybe your deliverable on this is like a 2-day live workshop. You go to the location and you're training the executives, okay? So leadership training for female executives. Well, of course, we're going to do job title, CEO or C-suite. We still want to use these things. Industry, maybe you're focused on real estate or manufacturing or some specific industry. And maybe, like I'm not going to China. I'm looking for English speaking countries. So we nail down location. We want to be specific on who we're looking to serve. But we also want that female executive to also be thinking about and wanting and kind of pursuing leadership training, or they've done leadership training in the past, right? That person's clearly way warmer. So simply put, this is where we win, right? Sales cycles are shorter because they're already interested, and we have a higher closing rate. If you take a screenshot of this, this is Eugene Schwartz's 5 stages of awareness. Hopefully most of you have seen this a million times at this stage in your career. If not, Christmas came early. Like, this is fantastic. We think through this filter multiple times in our campaigns and our offers and our businesses. And simply put, on the far left-hand side, unaware means I'm unaware of my problems. I'm unaware of what solutions are in the marketplace. And all the way to the right-hand side of this display is most aware, meaning I know what my problem is. I know what companies are solving this problem. I know what specific products I want. And I'm just trying to decide between, 1 or 2 of the top products. That's most aware, right? And they even know all the promos and specials and all that. Okay. So that's kind of your scale. Now, here's what's cool. What I'm suggesting today is let's all move further into the sales cycle. Okay. Someone that's problem aware is someone that's like, man, I keep getting more and more HR issues. Maybe I should, maybe leadership's off. Maybe how we're conducting our meetings or the company culture is slightly off because we're getting a lot of HR complaints. That's problem aware. Solution aware is I've ordered these books. I've gone to these seminars. Product aware is I've gone through these specific trainings. I've had people come in, to our location. Most aware is, listen, I've done 10 of them. Here's the best 2, right? You can see where this grows. We think about your product. Think about your offering right now. And we want to find the data, the people, the leads that are at least solution aware, maybe further along, right? This is the simple hack. Hopefully this is very, I'm laying this out very plainly, very clearly, because this is where people win. When Sean and I, after we built and sold our first software company, and people kept asking us, how do you guys grow so fast? Eventually we were like, fine, you know what? Pay us and we'll show you. And we talked through a lot of what I just laid out. And you can use the framework that I'm describing on Facebook, on Instagram, and your email campaigns, and wherever you're approaching whatever sales process you're building in your business, because it's the same logic of knowing who we serve and where they're at in your customer journey. And the further along we can get into the customer journey, the shorter the sales cycle, the higher the close rate, and the more profit the business drives. All right. So here's how we do it. I'm going to share with you finding these events, registering for them, and importing them. Fortunately, we're getting into the tactical, and the tactical is so friggin' easy. Like, this is not difficult to do. And you can get this data over to you and your team, today, and start winning and watch the KPIs, watch your close rates. All right. So let's say we'll switch gears on business example here. Let's say we have a marketing service. We're a marketing agency. So we write copy, we write emails, we maybe update funnels and websites for people. That's the product or service we provide. we provide marketing. We want to find other events that are talking about marketing. So we just type in marketing. You can see the suggestion there, marketing for e-com, marketing for SaaS, marketing for real estate. You could get more specific, which would probably help your searches, just as a little side pro tip. But again, very, very simple. Now we're going to go to the far right-hand side with events. Has anyone just clicked on events and registered? Just out of curiosity, do you guys go to LinkedIn events at all? Okay, okay, a little bit. Yeah, so this isn't, most people I talk to, they're not really utilizing this, and it's such a simple, easy hack. So we go to events. This is just one of the top search results. Of course, AI is in the mix. Very popular subject these days. Generative AI in business. Okay, so let's just pretend that this is, the marketing event, and the people going to this are looking for marketing solutions that I solve and I provide. This is somebody else putting on an event, congregating and driving attention of the ideal prospect that I can serve, and there's intent. The intent is I want to solve marketing problems. Is this really clear? So when we find the event, those are the types of events we want to find. And registering typically looks like this. It's simply just clicking the button and registering. Some ask for your email. Some don't. They just register you. Some don't make you register. You can see on the right-hand side, it just says share. But if you look down below, the networking tab is where everything unlocks. That's what we want to pay attention to after we register. If they don't make us, we access that tab, okay? So you can see how fast this is moving, right? Find, register, very simple. I wasn't kidding. Now let's talk about import. We're going to hang here for a little bit longer. This is on LinkedIn, what it looks like. You hit the networking tab. Now there's 3 different buckets here, and sometimes they can vary, but let's look at this data just for a second. What is the top one showing us? 26 connections. These are the people we're already connected to. Why is this an interesting place to start? Because if we have people in our network, first or second, level connections that are already looking for the solution that we provide, it's much easier to message them because we're already connected. It's warmer. So that's obviously a place that we want to start. Now, the one below, 2,600 attendees from computer software industry. So if we want to look for a certain industry, or the bottom one, United States, certain location, we can do that. Those are also being categorized. It's categorized data for us, just deciding what kind of campaigns we want to run. So let's say we go into 26 connections. The next thing we want to do is click see more in the section that we want to look at further, okay? And it opens up, it looks like this. And one more time, we're going to need to click see all. We want to load that specific page so that it looks like this. And now you can see that on the right-hand side, we have the FlowChat extension. Okay, now there's one last piece here that I want to share, like another filter I want to share that's very valuable. But notice this. We're looking at a page of our ideal prospect that's actively registering and wanting to invest time and more than likely money and resource to solve a pain or problem they have. That is data with intent, which is further in their sales cycle and their journey. Not 100% of the time, but most of the time, right? This is certainly much warmer than just finding somebody on LinkedIn, okay? So the other piece here is look closely at that little window and notice there's a CEO tag in there. In this section right here, in the white box in the extension overlay, we can type in a series of titles, tags, keywords that our ideal prospect identifies with and they use on their LinkedIn profile. And when we put that in there, notice it's graying out all the other contacts and it's highlighting the contact that meets the criteria. This just saves us a bunch of time reaching out to people we don't want to talk to. So this is a really, really helpful filter. And once we've applied it, we can then click import, the blue button on the bottom. And when we do, down right there, what we'll see is this window pop up. Now, I'm not going to get too lost in the sauce with all the different features and cool things you can do with this window. Simply put, we're looking to import this curated data into our pipeline so our team can start doing the sales process and all the touch points to lead to a conversion. And one of the most important areas here is towards the bottom where it says add the imported leads to a pipeline. We want to add them to the specific stage in the specific pipeline that we want to send them to for our team to work on. So we would hit start importing, and it would go into a pipeline that looks like this. Hopefully you guys are familiar with FlowChat's pipelines at this point. And we can hit edit. Now, this is really cool. If you guys want to get really, really clean data, you can see how many times we've been through this process. You can see how many layers that we've put in place to automate this process. So we are not spending hours doing mundane tasks, but we're spending more of our time doing revenue closing activity. But if some other automations that are available could be, I only want to talk to connections that are third level or second or first level connection only. Wouldn't it be cool if you could talk to people that, you want, if you're selling publishing, you want to have people that already have an online presence. So you might want them to have a certain amount of followers, right? Or a certain amount of connections. So if they don't have at least 1,000, hey, they're just not for me right now. Okay, so you can curate in that way. Here's one last one that's pretty good. Has a minimum of blank posts per week. If you're looking to engage with somebody on social media and they haven't posted anything in 6 months, wouldn't it be cool just to like skip those people and only message the people that are active on social so you have a higher chance for responses? So we have a filter in here that you can activate. You can activate all of these, one of these, or any combination. You can go further with country. You can go further with keywords that's in their experience or the content that they're posting to pull out certain phrases that identify your customer. Okay, so there's some more detail, but check this out. You would then hit the play button and run that automation, and it's searching every profile by profile. And the ones that meet the criteria move to this stage. The ones that don't meet the criteria are removed from the pipeline. So at this point, hopefully you get to see how much effort and work and focus and intelligence have been put in to getting the exact right people. And so when people look at us like, how does it work? How do you make social work? It's this type of focus and intelligence in a process that get the right people, that really get the right people consistently. Right now we're doing this training. We have teams and automations doing all of this data curation for us every single day. And the way that we keep winning is we never not do it. We do it every day consistently. And so once they get to the stage, qualified prospects, and we hit edit right here, we get to see the next action, the next automation. We're just sending connection requests. So in the event that we're not connected with them yet, we can run this automation. In the event that we're already connected with them, we can move them along to the next stage in the pipeline here, connection request. I'm sorry, the fifth one, the green one, accepted. They're already further in the pipeline, so we could just put them there. And then we can start sending them messages to engage, nurture, and build the relationship. So this is what I had set up for you guys. Wanted to keep it really simple. My hope is that you're really excited about LinkedIn events. It's just a search filter in LinkedIn, but I wanted to give it some more story and some more examples to really highlight why it's so valuable. If I say, oh, just go do this thing, and yeah, it's like good data, like give it a shot. If you understand, all of your criteria, your logical criteria, plus the intent, you're going to find way more people further in their buying journey, and you're going to close deals faster. And that's what I want for you guys here today, watching live or the recording. So what does this look like? Simply just find one LinkedIn event where your ideal customer is already registering, and that event has to be solving the problem that you solve. You want to find people looking for what you have to provide, of course. Register for it, import from the networking tab, and then start sending connection requests. And if you're already connected, start sending your first initial message. This is, between this week and next week, your mission.